think it's relevant. Would you rather cross, and I'm going to tie it all together, would you rather cross paths with a random man or a random bear on a hike?
Well, I wouldn't want to compress with the bear.
Okay.
Because that would be my life at stake there.
All
and
right.
So it definitely would rather have a man.
Let's get the answers, please.
I would rather have a bear.
Bear?
That's crazy.
Depends on the type of bear. Black bear, bear.
It's a random man or a random bear?
Random bear.
Okay.
What's
what about
wrong with you?
Man. Random man.
Jesus.
What would I rather?
Man.
Yeah, I'm going around the table.
A man.
What about you?
A man.
A man.
Okay, so bear. Why do you pick bear? Why don't you pick man?
This is my thought process in that question is that assuming the bear is aggressive, so that would assume that the man is also aggressive, right? Is that the situation, or are we just doing random?
Random.
Hold on. So it's assuming the myriad and varied ways in which a bear or a man encounter could go. So you would agree that you can encounter a bear, nothing could happen. You can encounter a bear, it eats you to death. You can encounter a man, nothing happens. You can encounter a man, he could punch you. You could encounter a man, he could torture you and do all kinds of terrible things.
If it's just like that, I don't care if I see a man or a bear. I've been hiking and I've seen both men and both bears. But if it's in the situation where I'm assuming they're both hostile and aggressive and want to hurt me, I would.
But that's
choose
not
bear.
granted in the question.
You're more likely to walk away from a man attacking you than a bear
But
attacking you.
Maybe she doesn't think that.
No,
though.
but I've seen bears. They've never attacked me. I've hiked in Tahoe. My grandma has a cabin in Tahoe. There's bears outside.
Yeah.
Never been attacked by a man or a bear on a hike. So
I've
I
walked
don't.
past
And then
many men without being attacked.
What's your
I've walked
answer?
past many bears and
What's your
men.
answer?
Bear. And my answer is that because let's just say that the bear was violent and literally, ended my life. And let's say the man happened to be violent and ended my life. I would be more scared about what a man would do, regardless of just ending my life, what else he might do, versus the bear.
But at least you would
the bear's
live.
No,
Hold on.
no, I'm saying that if I'm assuming that the man does end my life, the bear ends my life, I would rather have it done by a bear, because at least that I have the expectation that how the bear is going to kill me, end my life.
Okay, but this sort of smuggles in an assumption that in both instances you will be attacked. You also have to do an analysis of the likelihood of an attack.
Yes, but when this started being talked about on social media, a lot of the reason that women were talking about this is because of the point that I'm saying right now. Not just, men are more likely to attack you than a bear or any of that. It was more so that women were scared about what a aggressive man might do versus an aggressive bear.
You guys are leaving the question too open-ended.
What's that?
You're leaving it with too many hypotheticals. Like I said, I've seen a man and a bear, neither of which have attacked me while I'm hiking.
No, but built into that, you can. So okay, even if you don't make a hypothetical granting of the nature of the person, so it's just left up to could an attack happen by the man? Could an attack happen by the bear? It could be yes or no in both instances.
If either of them could hypothetically attack me, I hypothetically don't care what I see.
Get the Discord going in the resources. There's a bear segment. I want you to get that ready to go in just a moment. I want to if I were to reframe the question, and maybe this might help. So I guess a couple clarifying questions. Is it okay for women, because of their own experiences, to choose bear over man?
Like, everyone can have their own opinion. They would rather, that doesn't have anything to do with me, but I think if they want to choose a bear over a man, if they have the reason to do that, whatever. But you guys
what about you?
I was reading the comment.
Yeah, don't read those. Focus on the conversation.
Okay, what was the question?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is it okay for men, because of their own experiences, to choose bear over man?
Okay for women?
Okay for women
Did I
or
say
men?
Yeah, you said yeah.
I'm sorry. Is it okay for women, because of their own experiences, to choose bear over man?
Yes, it is.
Is it okay for, is it okay because women have seen crime statistics that indicate that men perpetrate crimes more frequently than women, for women to have a justified or even unjustified fear of men?
If they're afraid
They
of
can if someone is afraid of someone, they're afraid of someone.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, a man can be afraid of a woman too.
Exactly.
Like, it goes both ways.
Yeah, sure.
You guys are leading into
hold
just
on,
one
hold
side
on.
so heavily, but
Hold
it
on.
goes both ways, and that's what we're saying.
Chill out. Let me get through it. Hold on. I lost my train of thought when you were prattling. What was the other one? If a woman, say she hasn't had her own experiences of violence, but she's been exposed to many, many TikTok videos or media pieces or news reportings of men who have attacked women, that even if she hasn't had her own firsthand experience, that this would then create justification for her picking the bear over a man.
If that's how she feels, yes. She can
Let
think
me
whatever
ask
she
you,
wants.
now let me change the hypothetical and you tell me if you find it objectionable now. A white person was victimized once or twice or three times by a black person. They now pick, when presented the same question, you replace man in the situation and you replace it with black person, and this person's white. Would you find it racist if somebody were to want to be confronted by a bear over encounter a bear over a black person?
I think racism stems from like an inherent hate for a certain race. I don't think you can I don't think it's a matter of being.
Can you inherently hate a gender?
Yes, absolutely. I don't hate men at all. I've never once said that I hate men, but I'm saying
you said something about racism. I didn't say anything about racism.
But that's basically what you're implying, because you're saying they saw him
I
three
didn't
times to be
imply
afraid of a
anything.
black man. You did. What do you mean?
Wait, so is it sexist to be afraid of a man? And I didn't say black
think
man,
it's
I said
sexist.
black person.
I think as long I see sexism as someone who has a deep hatred towards one gender and they act upon those beliefs. As long as they're just thinking it and they're not doing anything to harm anyone, why does it matter what they think?
So is it sexist for women to pick bear?
Sexist for women to pick bear? I think it depends on their reasoning for picking bear, and it depends on the way they're thinking of the question.
Of the three things I gave, so either they had firsthand bad experience with a man, they are aware of crime statistics that indicate that men commit crimes more frequently than women, granting that, I guess, and then third, they see news and media and TikToks about how bad men are, but they haven't had a bad experience themselves.
I think that is sexist to just assume because it's a man that they're going to do something bad, but I feel like you can read someone's body language too, if they're staring at you a certain way or something like that, then that's one thing. But I do think it is sexist to just assume to choose bear because...
So it is sexist.
I think that is sexist, but
Is
I think
sexism bad?
when most people think of that question, they are assuming both of the part.
No,
both the bear.
I don't think they're assuming.
They absolutely are.
They're not assuming that in both instances they will be attacked. It's not granted in the hypothetical.
That's the way I've always thought
Yes,
of that
that is the way that it was intended.
Okay,
on
well
social
then let
media.
me change the hypothetical then. Would you rather cross paths with a random man or a random bear on a hike? And in this hypothetical, there's not a granting of, in both instances, you will be attacked, you don't know.
Okay, but this was not the argument on social media. This wasn't
That
why
was,
it
no,
actually
no, no,
That
it
was
was.
not what they
No,
were-
because you
it
can't
was,
make that
but you really
assumption.
think you could-
The point of the hypothetical, the whole point of the man versus bear question is to assess, do women have a realistic risk assessment when it comes to men and their aggressiveness? So if you, and here's the reason why. Usually the follow-up to this question is, and women will say what you said. Well, the bear's not going to grape me, but the man might. And so I'd rather get eaten by the bear. Okay, and then we go around the table and say, what percentage of men do you think would do that to you if they could get away with it? And maybe we should just ask that, because some of the answers are wild. What percentage of men on average do you think would grape you if they thought they could get away with it?
If they could get away with it, maybe 20%.
I'm going to say 5 to 15.
Okay.
We've had girls say 80%.
Yeah,
That's
super high.
a bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, all of the men in my life.
Hold on, but I do want to go back to. But do you think it's okay if a woman picks bear?
She can pick whatever she wants.
You're fine with it?
yes.
You're fine with it?
Yeah.
Okay, is it okay for a white person to pick bear over black person?
Or for a white.
Wait, for a woman to pick bear. Yeah,
I think
No,
that's
he
fair.
said white person.
I think if a white
versus
person,
black person.
A white person
I just
picks bear over black person.
I think either way.
You would have to agree.
I feel like the way I've always thought of that question is that, like I've
Well,
said this already, but both of
before
them
you
are
give your
aggressive.
explanation, answer my question.
I don't think if you're asking if it's okay, it's not me personally. They can think whatever they want. I'm not gonna this
Yes.
hypothetical person.
Okay, but
hypothetical.
people can think whatever they want. But the question: would you object to their line of thinking?
I would have to be in that situation.
Do you object to racism?
I do object to racism,
Okay, so
absolutely, but I don't
great.
think that's racism.
You don't think it'd be a little racist?
I mean, that is, yeah, that's racist. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That is racist, but also, like, that's, like, everyone has a different train of thought.
Question.
Like,
How
you
about
guys
this?
are just all hypothetical.
Here, let me
like,
do-
you're not giving anything specific.
What do you think? Would you object to a white person picking bear over black person?
I can't really object to something that's going on in their own mind, their
Yeah.
own feelings. How
Like,
can I
if
object?
You can definitely object.
You object
I
to
can
how
tell-
men
No,
talk
I mean,
about women or
What
feel
happened? Do
about
they all have a right to feel how they want to feel?
That they do.
Why is there a double standard?
That's not what-
inside. Feel inside,
Hold on.
not feel.
Wait.
Feel
but
outside, inside, like
you don't object to people having thoughts. That's useless in a conversation that's trying to explore whether something is right or wrong.
I mean, I feel like if I put myself in that situation, I saw 3 black people and they did something bad to me, they attacked me or something like that, and then I saw another black person.
You're adding a bunch of stuff.
I know.
Yeah,
I would.
it's not
You're
that
adding a
I
bunch
can't.
of
I can't.
It's not
I
that
don't choose.
complex.
I don't know their thought process.
Okay,
I don't
you
know
do a
what-
lot of this and not a lot of this.
I'm listening
so
to you
let me
guys,
help
but
you. You gotta shh. Let me help you. The point of the hypothetical, the reason there's not all these details is to see what your assumptions are.
But these aren't
and to yes, it is. So it's there to test where does your brain go? What are your assumptions you're going to make, and then what is the logic behind why you're thinking that? That's the point of the hypothetical. If we load it with a bunch of specifics, it's no longer serving the purpose.
I just feel like it has to be specific in order to be accurate.
What?
But
Wait,
life
wait.
isn't
Hold on.
specific.
I know, but
Here,
why
let me
this is
change it.
hypothetical? Like, why?
Here, can I ask you?
That's
let me change
the
it.
point of a hypothetical.
Yes.
That's
I'll
the
change
whole
it.
point of it.
Okay. Do you think it's wrong for women to, if, say, it's at night or whatever, and they're walking down the street and they see 3 men, is it wrong for the women to cross the street?
Absolutely not.
Okay. If a white person sees a group of black people, is it wrong for them to cross the street?
I don't think it's. I don't think it's wrong. I think
Is it-
that's racist. That is
Okay, so-
racist. I will admit that is
so
racist. But if they and they like I wouldn't do that. But if that person feels very threatened by black people, then they could cross the street. That's like they can do whatever they want.
Okay, but
Like you're not asking me personally what I would do. Like that's the difference.
looping. She's just looping.
But
I don't-
so,
I don't know what you're to say.
but
I have
so.
a question.
Oh, hold on. And what about you?
The first question was, can a woman cross the street?
If she sees 3 men,
Yes.
is it fine from your perspective for her to cross the street?
Yes.
Okay. Is it sexist if she does it? Is she a sexist?
I
It's
don't
a
know.
sexist thought, though.
Okay, cool. If a white person sees a group of 3 black people, not specifying their gender even, is it racist if they're like, 3 black people, I'm crossing the street?
That is definitely
most-
a racist thought.
Yeah, in
Is it-
most cases, I believe so.
And is racism bad?
Yes.
Yes.
Is sexism bad?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Wait, is sexism only bad when men do it to women?
No. No, I mean,
Can women even be sexist?
yes. Women can be sexist, but I
Wait,
think
well, Raven, actually on the questionnaire, you indicated women can't be sexist towards men, and you agree with that statement.
yeah. So I was kind of like going through it, and I was like, technically, yes, women can say sexist things or do sexist things towards men. I just don't think that it equates to the same level.
How so?
Because men have always been in positions of power. Men have always, like, yeah.
How
What
would
about
that-
now, though?
How would
I mean,
that matter, I guess?
I mean, then I'm gonna get into something that's gonna be a whole different topic.
Which is what?
I mean, the reason why the president is who the president is right now. I mean, that's.
So you think that Kamala Harris didn't get elected because she's a woman?
Yes, because she's a woman of color.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
What evidence?
Do you have any
black.
evidence to support
She's
that?
literally not
Do
even
you guys
black.
think Michelle Obama's transgender too? Are you guys those people?
I don't think that, but I don't see how that's relevant.
I was just gonna say.
Do you know offhand how
online,
many
bro.
women voted for Trump?
I don't. I have no idea.
Probably
So then
a
how
ton.
can you
A
put
majority.
your 2 cents on that?
Well,
A majority of female voters voted for Trump.
Hey,
Yes,
was
and
one
it's
of the
very
voters.
unfortunate.
yeah.
Why?
But
So
I'm
how
not
is it
surprised by it.
I mean, Roe v. Wade
Is it possible?
Roe v. Wade is being overturned. How
Yes,
is that? That
that's
is
that's
taking, that's a
awesome.
steps
That's
back.
amazing.
That is steps back
No,
in
it
society.
means that we're not murdering babies in record
So
numbers.
you think if a woman gets
Yes,
they're not
babies.
babies.
Okay, what are they?
They are.
Fetuses.
If
Okay.
you don't want to get
If-
pregnant,
is a
then
fe-
don't have
wait,
unprotected
let me walk them
sex.
down the
Well, like,
wait,
I'm with women, so I'm good.
Let me walk them down the logic tree. Is a fetus a human?
No,
Oh, what is it?
a fetus.
A human fetus. You know that fetus just tells you gestational age and that the species is human. It's a Homo sapiens, right? If it's not human, what the fuck is it?
You're not gonna change my belief on that.
I'm not trying to change your belief. I'm trying to walk down the logic tree and see where you get the belief. So if it's
Okay.
not a human, what is it?
A fetus.
A human fetus or like a dog fetus or a pig fetus?
A human fetus.
Okay. If it's a human fetus and you abort it, you're killing a human fetus.
Not alive yet.
What do you mean it's not alive
If it's
yet?
not alive, how can
Why
you
do you have
kill
to
it?
kill it?
Do any of you?
If
because
it's
why-
not
you know what?
alive.
It will
You
be
can
alive. It
you
will be
can
alive.
literally hear the heartbeat
It is
within
alive.
the
Okay.
first 2
if
months.
it doesn't even. Biologists agree. Okay, don't deny science now. Biologists agree that it's alive. You just think it's not a person, right?
It is not. It's not a. I don't think it's.
She
a
said it's
mortal
not human, which is wild.
I did not say it's not human.
You said it's not human like 3 times.
not- okay, well,
then
I
I
meant it's not-
finally got you to admit
It's not a
it.
human being. It's not a
Yeah,
living.
it
it's
It
not
is
a
a human being.
It's not a conscious person.
No, what? Here's
Oh,
your. You
they
don't even know
absolutely
your
are
own
conscious.
If they didn't
position.
have conscious,
you don't
it
even.
wouldn't be
They don't
alive.
even know their own position. What smart leftists say, not you people, but smart leftists say it doesn't have personhood. It's human. It's alive. But we don't consider it a person yet. We don't exactly know at what point we do consider it a person or it needs to have consciousness. There's usually like a cutoff point in some kind of consciousness or personhood argument. You guys aren't even smart enough to come up with that. So how on earth did you come up with this idea
I think
that
it's
you're not
really-
killing a human being that is alive?
I think it's funny that conservatives like to attack other people's like character or smarts when it comes to things like this. I think it's funny because you don't really see it.
I think
too
it's
much with the
funny
other
that you
viewpoint.
believe in stuff that you don't even know what you're talking about and that you can't explain
You
when you're
have
asked the
every right
simplest
to
question.
believe that.
I don't think we
You
should ever
don't.
take away
You
what
don't.
we
If you
choose.
believe murder is wrong, then you're killing a human being. I'm going to say you're not allowed to do that. It's not up to your opinion.
Abortion isn't murder, though.
It is
Tell me how.
absolutely murder.
Tell me how.
If a
Tell me
woman
how
was
it is
murdered while
murder.
she's
It's-
pregnant,
I'll
it's double
tell you
homicide.
how it's murder. It's murder because it's a human being who is alive.
But why do you?
And you're
don't do
killing.
anything.
Where do you?
if
Where do
you
you believe consciousness begins?
It doesn't matter to
That
me
does
where
matter.
consciousness begins. Okay, fine. If there's a person, they're 22 years old, and they have a debilitative disease, and they don't have consciousness anymore. Is it okay for you to kill them?
If someone's brain dead, yeah.
Oh, you can just walk into
No,
the
'cause
hospital and kill them?
If someone is brain dead, don't they get? I don't know much about it, but don't they give you the option to let
Well, they're
them
not.
take them
They're
off
not.
life
They're
support?
not. They're not brain dead, but they're not conscious. They're in a coma.
Well, I would
That's
argue
not
that a baby's
conscious.
brain dead. Like they don't. Do you
But
think a
if they
baby?
were
do you think
So
that- and
let's
maybe
follow
it's
the
a-
logic. You think that if somebody is not conscious, it's okay to kill them. So if Brian has too much to drink tonight and he passes out on the couch, you can kill him because he's not conscious.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
At all.
so it's got to be something else. So what makes it okay to kill a human fetus?
It is not a conscious being. It is a fetus.
I do have to
Do you
move
know
it
the
on.
definitions?
Hold on, I do got to move it on. We can come back to abortion later.
Base Thor donated $200.
Thank you, man.
At the end of the day, you can trust a bear to be a bear, but can't trust a human man to be humane. We cannot support this delusion anymore. How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning?
For you two, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning?
I didn't have breakfast this morning.
I
fine.
didn't have.
Oh my God.
Failed.
I'm rather.
Wait, what is the question?
Failed the breakfast
Totally
question.
failed it. Totally
At the
failed
end
it.
of the day, you could
Your
trust the
notes, Maya.
Oh boy.
You had some not so nice words, I think, directed towards Rachel Wilson or
yes,
Andrew
you did.
Wilson.
You did.
So you wrote that as one of your disagreements. You think, considering who his wife is and how she has multiple, or he has, she has multiple baby mamas, daddies, whatever.
Yeah.
You think his views are hypocritical?
Well, I would assume that your view as being a Christian woman would be that you're supposed to be with one partner for life and you have your kids and you make your big happy family. But to my understanding, you have multiple baby daddies and you have had multiple relationships.
Yes, so you probably heard a bunch of stuff on the internet.
I
right?
did, and that's what I mean.
You're
That's what I
assuming that
heard.
it's
That is
all
what-
correct.
yes.
Okay, what do you think a baby daddy is?
Someone that you are no longer with, who you have a child with.
Because when people say baby daddy, I'm thinking like a rando that you have a kid with. Not somebody you were married to. Is somebody who you were married to a baby
Well,
daddy?
what would you consider him now that you're not together?
An ex-husband?
But what about
Or the father of your children?
I still think it's a baby daddy.
Okay, but would it be wrong? Why are you assuming that it's wrong that I had kids with somebody else?
I'm absolutely not assuming it's wrong. My understanding, just from based on what you have said and what I've seen your husband say, that you would be in the position that you are supposed to be with one person only.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But sometimes people abandon you, and sometimes they actually physically abuse you.
Yeah.
And in that case, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
So is it wrong if that happened to me, and then I come out and say I still believe that you should be married?
Not.
Okay, so
Absolutely not.
I have a question. Okay,
Sure.
so if you feel that way, you don't have a choice because he physically abused you, which I'm sorry. What about women who were raped and want to have an abortion?
It still doesn't make it okay to kill another human being, because the person who was conceived is not the person who did the crime.
Right.
So
And it's such a low percentage.
What if it was like their dad or their brother or something, and there's a very high chance that that baby will have genetic issues?
Actually, so I've done some research on that. The odds of you having like actual genetic problems from one generation of incest is very, very, very low. It usually only happens after multiple generations. So like a lot of the Islamic world has a lot of genetic problems because they've had first cousin marriages for multiple generations. So the odds of that happening would be extremely low. Just because there's a chance that a baby might have a genetic problem is also not a reason to kill it.
Do you think that, so you think a woman that has been raped, gets pregnant, she should have to bring that baby to term? What about she brings the baby to term, has the baby, and she can't even look at that baby? She is so sad, it just reminds her of what
Adoption.
happened every single time.
adoption.
Do any of you guys have adopted
Adoption.
kids? Why do you think everyone should just adopt?
Well, actually, everybody can adopt. Did you know that there's a waiting list of people who are waiting for newborns? Newborn babies always get adopted.
I just feel like the mother's right should come first to be able to
kill
choose.
someone?
And I don't.
Do you know anybody that's been raped
Okay,
and has
I've
had
got a
the
great
child?
hypothetical to test your logic on this. So you might have heard that they're expecting we could have artificial wombs in the future, right?
What are artificial wounds?
Literally an artificial womb.
Oh, womb. Womb. I think I said wound.
No, artificial wombs. So they're saying maybe within the next 10 years. So let's say they have artificial wombs, and a woman goes to get an abortion, and the abortion doctor says, great news, we now have another option. We can transplant this fetus into an artificial womb where it can be grown to term and then be adopted out by someone else. Would you like to do that?
Great.
If I was in that situation,
do you think
I
we
would put it in an
still,
artificial womb.
but do you still think we should have legal abortion if that option became available?
I think it's very situational. Like,
What would be a reason to still kill the baby?
multiple generations of inbreeding, or
What?
That wasn't the
Okay,
situation.
barring the most bizarre freaking outlier of multi-generational inbreeding, okay, just any other, because the vast majority of abortions are just elective and just because of reasons like I don't have the money or it's not a good time for me.
Yeah.
So if there was an option to transplant the fetus into an artificial womb, do you guys, both of you guys who are pro-choice, do you think we should still have legal abortion?
I think I would have to think about that. I've never heard of that, but I would have to think on that. But I do think abortion should never be used as a form of birth control. If you're having consensual sex and consistently getting pregnant and consistently going and getting abortions, that's not okay. But I think abortion should be available to the people who have been raped or the people that are physically detrimental to their body to have a baby. I think they should have an issue. They should have a reason to. But if someone is in there 5 times in a month getting abortions, I know that wouldn't happen. But that's not okay.
What about you? What do you think? If there's an artificial womb option and we can just transplant the fetus, it can be born at full term and adopted out, should we still have abortion rights? Should you still be able to abort it anyway?
What's the cost of this?
It's free.
No cost to
It's
you.
free. What I would personally do is I would, of course, put it in the artificial.
But do you think that women should still have a legal option to terminate the fetus?
How would the procedure look?
It would just be like
a C-section.
Let's say it probably wouldn't even be like a full C-section, just based on what I know about that sort of thing. It would depend on the age too. But let's say that there was a way that they could do it endoscopically, so you don't even have to have a big scar. It's just a tiny incision. They can endoscopically go in, just like they would to do genetic testing on a fetus. They can just remove it, place it in an artificial womb.
And does the woman have any responsibility to that?
No legal or moral responsibility.
I might have to think about that a little bit more, but that sounds like a good solution.
Okay. I was curious what you might say to that, because I've asked other women that question and they'll still emphatically say that we need to have the right to just kill it. Because and this one girl told me, I don't want some person with half my DNA walking around out there. It's my right to kill that person.
That's
what I think
that's not hot. Yeah, that's not. That's not
too controlling.
Can we tie her tubes?
That's
I don't see a fetus as a human being. I know they're a human. I know they're human, but I don't see them as
Would you be okay with a cat having an abortion?
Yeah, absolutely. A cat. They do that sometimes, but it's just expensive. If a cat has an abortion, a cat accidentally is pregnant, absolutely, a cat can have an abortion.
Well, what I think this question kind of proved to me is that both of you, when given the option to just not have the responsibility, not be a mother, not go through the pregnancy and the birth, you did recognize that there's something of value there that should be saved.
I didn't say that. I said I need to think about it.
Okay, but you did not just immediately say, oh, it's just a clump of cells, why would I even bother? You paused and said, I probably would. So that tells me that something in your mind knows that there's something in there of inherent value.
So me personally, that's not really what I was thinking. I was thinking more so that there are women who do struggle when they get an abortion. They struggle with the decision. It's not just something they take lightly. I think that it would help a lot of women who don't want the baby, don't want to go through the pregnancy, any of that. I think it would help them to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, but doesn't that also prove that maybe there's something of inherent value there? Maybe it's a human life and maybe that means something. Maybe I can't just dismiss it. The clump of cells thing worked when I was a kid, before we had 3D and 4D imaging of fetuses and embryos and things where people could see what is in there and that it looks human, that it moves, and that it has a heartbeat and a circulatory system, even at 6 weeks old. I don't think the clump of cells works anymore. Everyone knows it's not just a clump of cells.
I think I have my answer on that. I think the woman should always still have the right to choose if she wants to. If that hypothetical does come into play and there is an artificial womb, I think the woman should still have the right to choose if she wants an abortion or not, but I think it should be circumstantial. So if a woman was raped or there was incest involved, then she can choose to abort it. But if it's someone just coming in because they got pregnant just on a whim, then they should have to put it into the artificial womb and not get an abortion.
Why?
Because I feel like the emotional damage of knowing that someone who raped you has...
No. I'm saying why in the case of... for the sake of the conversation, I'll just grant rape and incest, okay? We're talking about everybody
I have a
else,
question on
elective abortion. So
Really quickly.
why should somebody just going in for an elective abortion have to choose the artificial womb option?
Because that is their own, like, that was their fault. You can't,
But if it's
no,
just
you
a
can't
clump of
accidentally-
cells, it's not even a person, it's just tissue, why do we care? Why bother?
I mean, if that's the argument, I would say she should also have the right to abort. I think a woman should they should
Well,
be
that's
able to choose.
that was what you initially had first said. So
Yeah.
are you rethinking the whole? It's just
Well, I
tissue?
do think it's just a clump of cells and tissue.
Then
but
why
following-
would you say she has to choose the artificial womb option?
I don't know, because I don't think she should have been pregnant in the first place. She
There's
should have been
something
using
in your
attention.
mind that's conflicted. There's something in your mind pulling you in two separate
I
directions.
think my whole stance on abortion isn't necessarily about, like, is it a clump of cells or is it a fetus? It's more of, it's a woman's body and she should have a right to choose with what she wants. It's not about, like, if
Well,
she...
but
What if the
don't
fetus
they-
is a woman?
What woman doesn't have,
features.
what woman in 2026 doesn't know how to avoid getting pregnant?
No, they all do.
Yeah,
They all do,
so
absolutely.
so they did choose. They did have the right to choose, and they chose to risk it, and then they got pregnant. So why should they be allowed to kill a live human being, even if you personally don't think it's a person?
Because it's not a human being.
It
It's
is a human
it's
being.
a
It is
fetus.
a human
It-
being.
it's a
Which is a
human
type of
fetus. Human means Homo sapiens. It means the species human. You're human. Everyone here is human. Okay, it's a human. So it's you can't say it's not human. Choose a different word. It's not.
It's not formed. It's not. I don't know much about abortions in general, but depending on how fully developed the baby is, that's one thing. But if it's like,
Okay, so-
you've been pregnant for a week, like that's. Are you saying that is a human being?
It's
That-
a living human being, definitionally and biologically. You can't disagree. That's a fact. That's like me saying this is a white table and you going, I disagree.
Yeah, I would
It
say-
is definitionally a living human being. So what is it that makes it okay to kill it?
because it's not conscious. It's not.
But if it's consciousness, so we're gonna walk through this.
It's
'cause
not. It's not conscious. What's the better word for it? Like.
Yeah.
Not
what's-
conscious, but like their brain, like they don't have. I don't think babies are in the womb that like when they're just at that stage. They're not forming thoughts. They're not
They
like.
could
feeling
recognize
things.
their mother's voice.
I don't. At 1 week, 2
So
weeks.
you think that they're
Yeah.
well? First of all, I think you can only take the pill up until like at 8 weeks. I don't think you can have the surgical option until at least 8 weeks, if I remember correctly. But okay, if it's just that it's not conscious and it can't form thoughts, once again, somebody in a coma. We should be allowed to just kill them. If I'm a caretaker,
They had a whole life though.
So
A
my
baby-
husband was in a car accident. He is now in a coma. He's in my home. I have to like change his, IV bag. I have to change his tube. I have to take care of him. But he's unconscious. Why can't I just kill
Because
him?
he had a life ahead of that, and you've known him, loved him his entire
So
life.
why does that mean?
Because
what does that have to do with whether or not it's
He's
okay to
been-
kill a
he's-
human being?
He's been alive, and yeah,
The baby has also been alive.
It's not though.
But it is.
It is alive. Maybe it
Where's
hasn't.
this?
So
No.
you think you have to have experiences?
When does a baby's heart like start beating in the womb?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Five or 6 weeks.
Well, then why don't we just make it so abortions can't happen until after 6
Because
weeks?
almost nobody knows they're pregnant and can get in to get an abortion before 6 weeks. Most of them have to happen after that. The only way you can do that is with the abortion pill.
Well, I just think that women should have the right to choose.
So what we've
either
found
way.
through
They should-
this inquiry is that you have arbitrary metrics based on your feels. That's what you have. You don't have any justified reason for choosing, oh, this is the criteria of when it's okay to abort and when it's not. You're like, I just don't think it matters because I just don't.
I have a question in regards to that, actually.
Okay.
So I am someone that has been in like a crazy accident, a freak accident, 1 in a million thing. I broke my back. I'm lucky to, I mean, every day I'm grateful and I'm very happy to be alive, but I was supposed to be paralyzed from the waist down. So pregnancy for me, I mean, I have an IUD and I am very, very careful, but pregnancy for me is something that could leave me like rendered in a place where let's say my nerves decided to, fuck up during my pregnancy, and then it leaves me rendered in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Do you think that is in a case of, where it'd be okay?
I wouldn't say it's okay because you do have the option to just not get pregnant. Like that's always a choice.
Let me give like a really specific case here. I have an IUD, right, which is over 99% effective, right? Mm-hmm. But in the rare case that I was to get pregnant or have an even what is it called, like an ectopic pregnancy, where it's
ectopic. That's not. So in the case of things like ectopics, that's not a viable pregnancy. The baby can't be. There's only one documented case of like an abdominal ectopic pregnancy accidentally making it close to term without the fetus or the mother dying.
Let's say that it did, regular in the uterus where it's supposed to be, and I still did get pregnant, and even though I've been very careful, let's say it happens, because it does happen. It does. And especially in cases like mine where it would leave me then rendered in a wheelchair for the rest of my life just because I would be forced to have a child.
Are you certain it would do that? Because
but there's a chance, and I'm not willing to take that chance.
But that right there shows.
And if that's selfish, that's okay.
So then you shouldn't have sex. If you're not willing to take that chance, a lot of people jump into having sexual relationships, and they don't actually understand the risk, because if
no, I do. That's why I have an IUD, and it's very effective.
But that's what I'm saying. Like 99% is not 100%.
If I were you, if you
but I do want to have a child at some point, but I'm planning on just having a surrogate. So
there's some issues with that too. But we don't need to get into that for this podcast. I'm a very scientific person. But the thing about those kind of things, if I had $5 for every time I was told by a doctor, this is what's wrong with you, and they were wrong, like I'd be rich. I had a doctor tell me after number 5 that I was never going to be able to lift weights or walk again, and I should just get a walker. Idiots. They have to tell you things based on liability. Mm-hmm. So if there's like the tiniest minuscule chance something could go wrong, they will try to like enforce that to you so that you can't come back and sue them. But
in my brain, like knowing that, we're supposed to trust the doctors, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of fallacies with that whole system and everything like that. We're not going to get into that. But like in my brain, I know it's a possibility that it would leave me rendered in a wheelchair. So for me, that is something that, like, after a certain
I think
time,
if we were having like a hardcore abortion debate, I think it'd be fine to spend time on that. But I think for a dating podcast, taking like the really far outliers, I don't know.
I was just curious on your views on it, because that is me.
My personal view is I would not kill a baby, even if there was a risk that I could. I mean, there's all kinds of risks for healthy, normal pregnancies.
Sure, absolutely.
They're low. They're very low, but they do exist, and I took the chance multiple times. So, I had an epidural that went horribly wrong and could have left me paralyzed, and luckily it didn't. Great for me, yay. But I don't know. Let's see. What else do you guys want to talk about? Does anybody else have a topic?
I wanted to add something real quick, because in my experience, talking from my own experience, I did want to abort my son because after subconscious thought, after understanding myself, it was because I was scared to take commitment, to take accountability for actions. I'm a teen mom. Had to go to my parents with that, had to tell them, hey, this is what I did. And I was scared, and I didn't admit that I was scared. I wanted to take an easy way out. And for most cases, because great babies are not as, statistically, that doesn't happen to the norm of everybody else who are having abortions. Yeah. And going by that statistic, it seems like society just doesn't want to take accountability. Women who get pregnant don't want to take accountability because and this is the argument I hear, that men don't want to take accountability. And that's the fault. I'm not saying that you deserve what happens to you. I'm not saying that it was okay, but it's still you as the adult making the conscious choice to be in this relationship, knowing that you could get pregnant. That happens. Doesn't matter your birth control. I had birth control after getting pregnant, and I was still talked to about the risk of getting pregnant right after already having a baby. There was no doctor told me, this is going to be fine. Go ahead, have unprotected sex. It does, you won't have a baby with this in there. They gave me a list of birth controls, a list of disclaimers. This is not the only thing that will protect you from having a baby is abstinence. And no one wants to really agree with that because of instant gratification.
It's true, obviously.
I want to have sex. And that's fine. We're humans. We're, we have that animal instinct, but it's also the understanding, the whole idea about abortion is the argument of if it's a baby or if it's not a baby, I feel is useless, because the real issue is accountability. Yeah. Are you somebody that can make a conscious choice and stick to that? Hey, I had sex. I got pregnant and now I'm going to do the hard work. That's just how it is, because that's your responsibility. And we talk about it being women's bodies, your choice, then you should already have that choice. Okay, if I'm going to choose to have sex and get pregnant, I should commit to that.
I was going to ask Raven a question. So your moniker online is Goddess Raven. Do you actually like believe in like paganism, witchcraft, anything like that? Or is it just like a tagline?
I actually do believe in witchcraft.
Okay.